now I'm in a very fortunate position where I only do shows that I choose the script.
Mhm.
I choose to work on it, as opposed to when I was teaching you, I had to teach you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm currently sitting here with Peter Hammond, my ex-lecturer from the University of Tasmania, and that was from 2010 till 2013 that I was there. And this lovely man was also present until 2013, I believe. Was that your retirement year?
I retired in 2013.
That's right. Yeah. So we had a great time together. Peter was definitely very instrumental in my growth as a theatre director. He was there every step of the way, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I'm here now. I'm in Launceston, Tasmania, and I managed to steal a bit of his time, just have a conversation with him, just about theatre, and throw him some questions, and we'll just see how it goes.
I first became interested in theatre back in high school, and I did little plays in high school and the school musical. And then as soon as I left high school, I thought, I want to do this a bit more and go more deeply into it. So I went to drama school, and that was just at nights while I did some boring job to get myself through. And then I thought, wow, I could be an actor. And I did. I worked as an actor for about 6 years and was employed quite a bit of the time. But I came to the end of the end of my string because I got to a point in acting where I thought, I'm not really good at this. I am average and I can't really excel, and I think I've got more to offer. So that was when I went back and got my first degree in drama, and it was there that I discovered directing, and that was my genesis of a career, and then went further into tertiary and got a few more degrees in directing and community theatre and what that meant in terms of making contributions to the world of theatre. So like any career, it is a long gestation period and a process that you have to learn to lock bits off and to sharpen your needle so that you can find your way through to meaningful activities and also intellectually challenging activities. It never ends. You can't say, hey, I am now a director. You know, it's the same as an actor. You are forever honing and learning from every project. One of the interesting things about directing is that you do a lot of research on your script. I would read my script multiple times, probably a dozen times, and each time I read the script, there's a different reason for reading it. Familiarization, then I read it again for characterization, and then you might read it again for atmospherics, then you might read it yet again for the dynamics of the atmospheres and the movement, the pacing. Then you might read it again for nuance, and then I'd put it down and worry about that in the back of my head for some time, and then pick up the script afresh and see what I get out of it. So each script, even though you might have 2 or 3 or 4 scripts on the go at the same time, there's still a lot of that gestational work has to involve you. It's, as one person said to me once, you know, you lower yourself into the murky depths of the ocean, and it gets so dark sometimes until you eventually find a pearl at the bottom of the ocean, and you realise, that's why I had to go through all that darkness of the soul, searching in order to find a gem that I can hopefully move into the outer world and for others to enjoy. So when I get a script, it from the page to the stage is always a different process. And as a director, you learn different techniques to handle that process. I think where I've been in error in my career is that I used to be a workaholic and not allowing sufficient personal time and not spending enough time just with me for relaxation, for reflection and personal growth, as opposed to professional growth. There is huge responsibility with leading a team. And with that responsibility comes an awful lot of power. But there's also a gravity to it of the people around you. You are affecting their lives profoundly. So you learn very quickly to get rid of your ego as such and focus on the job and focus on the others instead of reaping rewards for self. You try and find the light, the glow in every person in your team. Liberating them for the script is more important than yourself. Theatre, once you get all those chemistries working in terms of the visual elements, the casting, your crew, the sound elements, and the interpretation elements, once you bring those together, theatre can be very powerful and disturbing. And otherwise, why do we do it? I used to think, I will just do theatre for entertainment. And that was a period I went through of doing big musicals, which I suppose gave a lot of joy to a lot of people. But it came to an end within a decade in that I realised that there's more interesting vehicles to work on than American musicals. So now I'm in a very fortunate position where I only do shows that I choose the script. I choose to work on it, as opposed to when I was teaching you, I had to teach you.
You did.
Daily.
But you loved us.
Oh,
you loved us.
I did love it. Yeah. But it's also work. You realise that I have to find plays, I have to find a graduation play with X number of roles, that have got to suit X number of people.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas now, it's a whole different ballgame. I can choose what I want.
That's right.
And the piece that's going to give me more satisfaction. And now I'm working exclusively on new Australian voices, new plays, to give playwrights an opportunity to have their work aired and brought to the public, as opposed to doing well-worn theatre pieces. So I enjoy doing productions that are original. You've got to find your own way through and find a new shape, as opposed to doing a play that others have done and the shape has already been established, by others. Well, one of the biggest initiatives, I suppose, was creating this thing called the Student Directed Festival. And back then we actually had staff. We could employ staff in those days. There was about 4 of us. And I took this idea to the rest of the team, including the head of department, and said, it could be a great culminating experience if all 30 students actually directed their own vehicle, own play, from go to woe. They've had all their classes in technical theatre, acting, voice class, movement class in those days. They've had all this preparation, but to bring it all together in one exercise would be for them to direct a play. So it synthesises all those skills that have hopefully been inculcated during their course. And it works as a crowning glory because each student realises their power. They realise that as a director I carry a weight, and they realise that they can have a vision work towards that vision and enable others to work towards a vision.
Mm-hmm.
So they come out of it feeling pretty good about themselves. My dilemma in that process is sometimes when I'm seeing a director stumble, making poor decisions, and you've really got to question, do I intervene in that student's process and save them? Or are they going to learn more from actually failing?
Mm-hmm.
It might hurt initially, but in reflection, they might learn a hell of a lot more from their own errors, as sometimes, well, invariably we all do in life.
Yeah.
We learn from our mistakes. So that's always a moral issue for me. To what extent, as a lecturer, do I meddle with where that third year student is going? If I'm seeing a cast really suffer because of a director's indulgence, I would intervene, because there are actors and workers being traumatised through that process, and that is cruel to just stand back and not do something about that.
Agreed.
So there is, you have a moral responsibility to your students, because each case is different.
Yes.
To what extent do you intervene? Is it just a word? I would never contradict a director while the rest of the company's there. I would take a director aside and give them some private words about, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Why are you doing that? But you are forever honing that. I'm starting a new rehearsal process tomorrow, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous about my get-in point. Now, it's like as if all of a sudden it's the first thing I'm directing. I know it'll work because I trust the people I've cast.
Yeah.
But what is the launch? How do I launch this whole process for the next few weeks to come out with a product? So I need to be mentally prepared, and probably emotionally prepared too. I've got to be in the right heart space in order to go in to this new baby that we're going to create.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be just a puppeteer. Some directors will just impose what they're going to do and remain aloof from that experience, whereas other directors will call on the beauty and the abilities of the cast, of the people they've chosen to be around them, and let them have the power to alter this play and contribute to it in the really profound ways. I used to direct many decades ago from the point of view of imposition. I would say, right, this is the vision, this is what we're going to do. You move here, you move there, you do that. Now say it that way and only that way, so that the actors were so tightly blocked that they became emotionally blocked. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I don't see.
Sure.
I don't see every student that does an STF project becoming a director. It is just one skill that they can bring to the rest of their life. And what gives me the greatest joy as a teacher is to see a graduate being a really good parent, being a great dad and a great mum and a role model. And I know that their SDF experience has enriched them to be a better human being rather than a great director.
It's the beauty of SDF, isn't it? It's not necessarily just about the theatre or the world of the play. It's about who you become at the end of it.
It's very true.
Yeah, and that's the important part.
It deepens the students and perhaps gives them faith in themselves.
Yeah, and I believe that. And I believe that's why SDF should continue. You know, it's just, like I said, it's not about the theatre, it's about who you become and who you will eventually become. When Shah and I do theatre, do SDF in Malaysia, it's not entirely about the process, about the theatre. It's about who they will eventually be, and learning to be more empathetic towards others, you know, because like you said, not everybody who does SDF is going to be an actor, a director, a stage manager, what have you, you know, but the skills that come from that can be attributed to multiple facets of their life.
Yeah.
You know, and like the stage management, if you become a project manager for a corporate company, you can still apply those skills. If you have to lead a team for a new project in an engineering firm, you can apply your directing skills, right? It's all these little things that sometimes I feel some of us take for granted that can be used outside of theatre, and that's the beauty of it all. Yeah.
That's very true. Okay, that's the growth of the student. What SDF also does is give new voices to the public. It lets them see a whole variety of different sorts of theatre, which is also very exciting. That you've got a whole tapestry of projects coming out. And it's a great night to go to the theatre to see 3 or 4 shows in one night, and you see the different variety. So it is enriching a community through that SDF, and that's why it should continue. All those reasons, those personal reasons, as well as the theatre reasons. I often think that all sorts of projects have their time and their place. It happens in the right place at the right time, and sometimes it just needs to die because more interesting shapes will take its place. Other things rise from the ashes, if you like that metaphor. So SDF, you know, could mutate into another form of expression in teaching and in theatre. We don't have the exclusive right to keep it as one form for year after year after year. I think it's got to evolve as a whole process. Let outcomes be different. Perhaps, you know, you might say 1 year, right, you are to put shows on where there is no budget. How are we going to stage something visually exciting if I am not allowed to spend 1 cent? What are the restrictions on me? And that sometimes brings out other resources in people, calls on them to be challenged in other ways. I think it's a bit of a cliche, but find your own way through. As opposed to somebody else's formula. In the long-term satisfaction is going to be far more profound than following something that's pre-written. Know everything and then forget it.
Once you're done the show, you're done.
Learn a lot and then say, right, there's no rules at all, really.
Yeah. And then go for it.
Yeah.
And see where Mother Nature and life takes you.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Far more interesting than imposing something that's pre-learned.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, Peter, thank you so much for seeing me. It's lovely catching up with you. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Ruben.
Pleasure.
Good to see you too.